welcome back to the Link Shack. And today we're going to be doing Unit 8 of Tuscarora. This is dealing with, I guess, morning routine, sort of, and breakfast items. There were a few issues with translating this, as there always is with these languages, because sometimes they don't have terms for things. I have no idea how to tell time in this language. I don't have a good source for that right now. So I just kind of just put the numbers together that go with that, and that's probably honestly how time is going to have to be given. I don't even know of a way to ask what the time is. So there's a word for time, right? There's two words for time. There's nyawanetek, and then there's tihakawi. Those are the two words for time. But neither of them have any reference to how you would say what is the time or what time does something occur. So we have to kind of do our, investigative thing with this and kind of just figure it out. So go ahead and dive into this. So what do you do every morning? I forgot to put tawate in front of this. I'm sorry. Tawate means what by itself, I'm pretty sure. And Thierha is you do. And since this is every morning, it's safe to use this ending here, which I believe is the serial, if I'm not mistaken. Basically, something that's happening on a regular basis. And so Thierha, the part is you, the second person singular, and yer means to do, means like to do or to make, and then the ha at the end is the serial verb indicator, so you know that it means that somebody does that regularly, or that they're doing it like over and over again, so over some amount of time. And this one, Tichi Thuterha. So Tichi. So how I came up with this. So if you look up each or every, Tichi is not going to come up. Chi is simply, I think chi is a particle that means again. That's used in like a lot of words in Tuscarora. But Tichi, if you look up the word for monthly, weekly, this word is used. And there's also another time, it might be annually, but there's monthly, there's weekly. I believe annually also uses this as well. So I figured, and also every day I think uses something like this, but this is morning. So thuterha means morning, and so Tichi, since it's the same pattern with multiple times, like multiple sets of time, I figured we could also use this for the word for morning. So the word for morning is thuterha. So Tichi thuterha, every morning, each morning. So Thierha, Tichi thuterha. What do you do every morning? Tawate Thierha, Tichi thuterha. I get up from bed and I wash my face. Katkaha kuharakas. So kakaha. So kaha. Kuha means to get up. This is also a similar word is also used in also the resurrection. So kaha is just like getting up. It could also mean to stand up or erect. It has a lot of different meanings that are kind of related to getting up. So the ought here between the k and the kaha, that I'm pretty sure that is the reflexive. So this is essentially saying I get myself up from bed. So kaha, kuharakas. So this one I had to construct, but what I can tell you about this is that uhar means to wash, and kus I think means face. So I'm not. I would have to go back and look up the rules. This Atkaha was already in the dictionary, so I just used that right off the bat, right the gate. But Kuharakas. Kuhara. So Uharakas. I use this ah here. This is an epithetic vowel, or basically it's a joiner. So it allows them to be joined since I probably could have done Uharakas since you can't do R's and K's like that, I think. Tuscarora phonetics is very complex. I haven't learned all the words yet for when certain things turn to things. Um, so this means I get up from bed and I wash my face. So this might be katu. It might be katu harakas. That's possible. That which mean I wash myself. I wash my face. I wash my own face. I wash my face myself. Something like that. Do you study before breakfast? Neth nethna jar often futerham yon acquire. So the verb for studying is net noyar. So we put the in between because this is a circumfixed stem. So na goes at the front and na yar goes around goes after your subjects and your objects. And you would have, if you're acting on someone like I study this person, you would put that information here, like after the I'm assuming. So nethna yar. Do you study or you study? This means before. So often, and then futerha, morning meal basically. So futerha, yet quaher. So I'm not exactly sure what the yen or yen is, but I know that quaher means it's a meal. So this is probably something to do with it might have something to do with who's involved in that eating. I would have to go back and look it up. But I'm also learning this language at the moment too. The next one, no, I do it after breakfast. Quince, no, quince, neck no, sorry, neck no yar, uta kanka, futerha, ya nequire. So no, I do it after breakfast. No, I do it. So I study after breakfast. So I study would be that na, like just like we did here, na, and then you have k. So k is for I, and no yar. So no yar. Na nek no yar. Uta can. Yeah. So uta can. Uta can. Afterwards or after. There's actually a different word for afterwards. Apparently, you can say. There's another word. I wrote this the other day. Hold on, 1 second. Because I saw this in the dictionary when I was looking some up. Afterwards. Might not be. Oh. Stent. Yeah, stentkath. So stentkath, I actually need to change that in here. Stentkath means after. And there's a different dialogue. I may have already changed it where we're actually using afterwards. But it's kind of funny to me that there's two words for that. So utankenke is afterwards, and then thuterham, yeah, and then quaher, breakfast. Same with this. So no, I do it after breakfast. Quince nek yar, utankenke, thuterham, yeah, and then quaher. Okay. So what do you do? What do you have for breakfast? Tawatem, fach haris, thuterham, yeah, and then quaher. So tawatem, what? And you could probably you could also say te if you want, I'm assuming, but I usually use tawate whenever there's no object after. It's kind of like the difference between ma and mava in Arabic. And then you have achturis. So achu means to eat. This ris, I'm pretty sure is like there's probably like it's probably a cereal, but this is also the form that was in the dictionary, so that's what I used, and that's the same reason I used it with here. I eat. So just to be safe, I'm trying to use what's in the dictionary as much as I can. But if there's no explanation, or I can't figure out why, like for example, hus or hook, different tenses are used at the end, I might take them off if I know that they're that if I've seen other examples of that same root in the dictionary or for that entry, and I don't see that those suffixes being used. Like I don't see ris being used in a different form but I see achu, then I might not use ris. But since I didn't see anything like that, at least in my initial search, I just use what was in the dictionary. So the th here is you, and then achharis. So achharis is to eat. So fachharis. Fachharis. What do you eat? Okay, what do you eat? Thuterhen, yeah, nekwaher. We already gone through that. So tawate fachhuris, thuterhen, yeah, nekwaher, and then I eat fried. I have fried eggs, bread, and butter. I drink orange juice and coffee with creamer. So this one, the second sentence, I think I need to add the distributive to the verb for doing, so that it's known that there's going to be other things involved, or that this action's going to be distributed over some space. And sharing the space is orange juice and coffee with creamer. So we'll just go through the first clause here. So kachharis. So kachharis is the same thing as thachuri. So kachharis, I eat regularly, every day, on a regular basis. Kachharis, kanha, yeah, yeah. So kanha sahrane. So kanha sahrane. Kanha sahrane. Fried eggs. I couldn't tell you which part was fried and which part was eggs, because fried eggs, this whole thing literally means fried eggs. They actually had a word for fried eggs in there. Utanare. Utthre. So, utthre is butter. Uttanare is bread. And kanha hasan, kanha hasan rahe is fried eggs. And then the second sentence, I drink. So kerha, I cannot tell you what the distributive is off the top of my head right now. I would have to go back and look it up, but that's what I would change this up and put that on there. So kerha, you say that because I drink that on a regular basis. Kerha, orange. I'm not sure what this would be in their language. I would have to study the words that they've borrowed from English, and then I would have to make a transliteration thing, like some kind of conversion tool, so that it could fit the phonetics of Tuscarora. So kerha, orange, yaweki, or yaweki, yawekit. So yawekit means juice. Yawekit. And then unahra. So unahra se kawi. So Unhrasa means milk because there's a word for cream, but milk would be easier since milk and cream is basically just two offshoots of the same product. So unhrasa, unhrasa coffee. So I said milk coffee, because coffee milk would sound a little weird to me. So I just said milk coffee, so that there's milk in there. And if you put that distributive in the verb, then it would tell whoever is listening that there's something going on. There's something else involved with this that will be sharing this action with Kara. So I drink. Well, there's going to be something else involved, and there's a distributive. Something. Sometimes you can have distributive into nouns, but in this case, I didn't think it was necessary here. And at what time do you go to school? So I do not. Did I ever add anything? So, what time do you go to school? The easiest way to deal with this is to just use the word for when. When you go to school, same thing. And I also did the same thing with the dialogue I am still translating for Unit 9. So, what time, if we're going to say when, we would say often. So, often. If you're wondering how that's spelled, thankfully we have a keyboard now. It's driving me up the wall not having a keyboard for this language or any language really. So we can actually do that in here. And we can do, hold on. Yeah, it's spelled with this capital A. So often, we're looking for theta. Often. And then we want RE with Loganek. So there we go. Should be updated, or at least I think it should be. Yeah, there we go. So often. So often. Rihatiati, which means school, and you can see that rihant. If you look at this rihati means to read. Arihati means to read, but it's also used in student. It can be used in learning sometimes, and also in school. So school is a place where you learn, where you read. So rihatiati Yafkas. Okay, so the ya here is what they call a cislocative particle. And there's also translocative particle. I've been trying to figure out what specifically these are used for in the Tuscarora language specifically, because I've never seen a cislocative in other languages, or I may have, but I didn't pay attention to it because it wasn't common, or it was too advanced for the level I was at. But translocative, these both basically deal with location, and since Tuscarora doesn't express location in the same way that most languages would, like, you might use prepositions to express. I mean, Tuscarora has prepositions, but they are not expressing, like, for example, if you're going to a place from a place, that's not going to be the same. Even if you're, like, meeting in a place, I mean, you can say ke, or if you want to, you can say akut if something is nearby, and that's fine. You can say kun. You can say kun as you're in, at, on type of thing, but you don't have to if you're going to a place or from a place. So you would use the cislocative. So the cislocative is ya, is this ya at the front. So, and fakins would just mean you go to some place, but it doesn't. You go to some place regularly, right? Like you go to school on a regular basis. Ya followed by, or the noun followed by a ya means that you basically went there. So the cislocative is it's an action that takes place away from the speaker but near the hearer. And translocative is away from the speaker and is away from both the speaker and the hearer. So this sentence, because you're going to school, I'm not sure where the hearer would be in this case, but it's probably somebody that like is familiar with the area. But since it's away from the speaker, you could use either of them, right? But since it's away from the speaker, you would have to use a locative anyway. So the pattern that I got was whenever you say yetna rihantianti ya, it means that you're going like to school in this case. So you're going to school. And I'm sure if you want to express this differently, you can. This language is very free when it comes to the roots and the stems you have. You can use them. It's a very creative language, so you could say things in your own way. And if you see a stem for which there is no noun, you can use the rules and create a new noun out of it. So this language does give you a lot of flexibility, not in syntax, but in how you construct your meaning. So this says what time or when school you go to. So you don't have to attach any you don't have to attach any location word to the end of yodna rihantianti. And then at 8:30, nekron. So nekron is 8. Nekron is 8, and asun tiwafan. Asun tiwafan means 30. So I just said at 8:30 because I do not know how you say like half past 8 or 30 minutes to 9. I don't know anything about that in this language because there's not really a way. But there is a word for o'clock, which is kind of funny. The word for o'clock is T1 9. Yeah, T1 9 10. T1 9 10. So that was interesting to me. But yeah, that was this Tuscarora 11. Hopefully you learned something today, and hopefully the explanations helped. If you're learning Tuscarora, definitely tag along. Let me know you're learning it. Let me know what you if there's like a certain unit you would like to see. But I am going through here, and at the end of the 50 units, I mean, I feel like anybody would have a pretty good level, to be able to at least understand how to create sentences and how to create and how to translate a thought, convert a thought from the English way of thinking to the Tuscarora way of thinking. So, but anyway, thanks you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in Tuscarora 12 probably tomorrow.